vaccinating of long-term care facility residents. Medical experts say Texas still has a long way to go until we reach any kind of herd immunity. The state has a high percentage of residents under 18. Obviously, right now they are not getting vaccinated. That, combined with people who won't or can't take the vaccine, means that the state will have trouble vaccinating enough people to completely stop virus transmission. Texas would need to vaccinate about 22 million people in order to reach that 70 to 80% level needed for herd immunity.
The Better Business Bureau has a warning. If you get a COVID vaccine, do not post your vaccination card online. It says the social media trend could put your personal information at risk for scammers to take advantage of. Even the most basic identifiers like your name, birth date, where you got the vaccine could be used to create a variety of different things that could harm your identity.
They can create an identity, and they've also got a photo of you as well. So there are any number of things. Scammers are very smart, and they're able to take a very little bit of information and run with it and do all kinds of things that could hurt your identity.
The BBB says scammers are also making copies of vaccination confirmation cards, posted online and selling them for profit. If you want to share that you got a vaccine on social media, the BBB recommends posting a picture of you, perhaps standing in line to get the shot, actually getting the shot, or a post-shot Band-Aid picture. A third COVID-19 vaccine could be authorized for use in the U.S. in the near future. Johnson & Johnson says its vaccine is made differently than Pfizer and Moderna's, which are mRNA vaccines. A single dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine means more people could gain immunity more quickly, and none would have to be set aside for a second shot.
It is very, very good with regard to cold chain requirements, namely requiring only a refrigerator. It is inexpensive, and the company is capable of making doses in the numbers of billions.
Johnson & Johnson says their vaccine was 72% effective against moderate and severe disease in the U.S. The company will request an emergency use authorization from the FDA this month. The U.S. has ordered 100 million doses, and the company says it can meet that commitment by June.
The CDC saying that only 31 million doses have been administered out of the 50 million that have gone out across the country. Now, there are some concerns, again, over those COVID-19 variants that have been discovered in more than half of the U.S.
Variants remain a great concern, and we continue to detect them in the United States.
Pharmaceutical companies are racing to try and stay one step ahead of the mutating virus and say they're ready to make changes to their vaccines if necessary. COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are down across the country, and some places significantly, but deaths still remain high, with the U.S. reporting an average of more than 3,000 every single day. Federal health officials are announcing a multi-million-dollar deal to expand the use of at-home COVID testing. The expansion will provide about 8.5 million tests a month. The test can detect COVID with a 90% accuracy and can be used for people with or without symptoms and anyone who's over the age of 2. Results are sent to a user's smartphone within about 15 minutes. The CDC has just expanded its data tool called Places that could help communities better distribute the vaccine. It is a hyper-local look at important health factors across the entire country. The CDC hoping community leaders will use the tool to identify the hardest hit areas and where they would like to consider more vaccine distribution.
By tomorrow morning, it will be a federal requirement to wear a mask on a plane and on any public transit. The mask order issued by the CDC is set to take effect later tonight. Agency officials say it's meant to instill confidence in safe travel. The rule applies to passengers on planes, trains, subways, buses, taxis, and rideshares. National School Counselor Week is underway. We'll visit one counselor in Temple after the break.
Plus, find out where Wall Street is seeing another surge in amateur investing.
This week is National School Counselor Week, highlighting why these employees are so important, especially to students. Our Sarah Shipley is showcasing a high school counselor in Temple truly making a difference.
School counselors help with the students' academic success, and in a pandemic, their services are needed more than ever before. Charlotte Hussey has been a counselor at Temple High School for 7 years. She has always loved working with children, and watching them succeed in school has been the ultimate success. Counselors are seen as liaisons between any combination of teacher, parent, and student. In a pandemic, their services have been needed tenfold.
Our responsive services have definitely increased, so we're seeing a lot more one-to-one counseling, a lot more guidance planning to get these kids prepped for after high school.
For Hussey, this is more than a job and technically not even seen as work because of how much they appreciate the students they help. Temple ISD has 22 counselors helping more than 8,700 students around the district. In Temple, Sierra Shipley, 25 News.
Sierra, thank you. Meanwhile, millions of residents in the Northeast are facing blizzard conditions as some places expect up to 2 feet of the white stuff. Early reports out of New York saying some parts are getting anywhere from 2 to 4 inches an hour. New Jersey and New York have already declared states of emergency, telling residents to stay off the roads.
Let me be as forceful on that point as I possibly can. If you don't need to be out, go back to your house immediately. If you're in your house, don't leave your house.
One big concern is plowing the roads so that rescue vehicles and those carrying life-saving medicine, even some COVID vaccines, can get through. The powerful storm could also bring dangerous coastal flooding, making some roads impassable. That storm is not expected to fully move out until tomorrow night. It's a good chance to bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Hines here. Matt, nothing like that here, but a few weeks ago we got a little bit.
Yes, we did, and we can go, well, that's all over the Northeast now. And one adage I like to put in here, when they start getting big storms like that in the Northeast, usually it is calm here, and that's exactly what is going on as we do have high pressure and firm control of our atmosphere, and that means calm weather across the area. In our Extra Coat Eagle Eye in Waco, mostly clear skies, 53 degrees, dew point down into the upper 20s, so it is rather dry out there, and that temperature will continue to fall tonight, probably close to freezing. Winds are out of the northeast, pretty light now at 6 miles per hour, and they will stay light for the remainder of this evening. Again, it's been very mild here for February, as we don't have any major storm systems across our part of the world. As stated earlier, you can see the big snows going on here across the northeastern part of the United States. That's one storm system. Then you head to the other coast and they have another storm system rolling into California. This one won't be quite as powerful as the one last week, but still it is slowly moving off to the southeast, and this one's going to take a while to get here. So we do have some very nice weather on the way for us. Look at these temperatures over the next few days. We'll start off in the lower 60s Tuesday, approaching 70 Wednesday, and look at that. That's a banner day Thursday. Temperatures into the upper 70s. Some models even going close to 80. We'll look at that in a second. Then it does fall back off. It's still wintertime. Temperatures into the 50s. Friday into Saturday. 40s on Sunday. That's Super Bowl Sunday, so we'll see a chill there, and then we may have more chilly air as we head into next week as well. But here is concentrating on Thursday. Some of the latest guidance coming in west of I-35 has temperatures into the 80s. And that would be the second time we see that in a week. Remember, this weekend we saw a high temperature of 80 degrees as well, and we may see it again as we head into Thursday. I think eastern counties you'll probably see in the 70s, but this will be something to watch as we may have a nice warming trend on the way. So tonight, temperatures falling down into the low to mid 30s across the area. 32 Waco, 33 Temple and Killeen through Gatesville, and 34 in Lampasas. So a chilly night in store for us here. And then tomorrow, highs will make it up into the upper 50s across our eastern areas, but a lot of us into the lower 60s. And we're supposed to be in the lower 60s this time of year. Our normal high is 60 degrees. So right around that along the I-35 corridor. And it will continue to be pretty nice out there for the rest of this week. There's your close to 70 degree reading on Wednesday. Upper 70s, close to 80 on Thursday. Slight chance of a shower. I think most of us are going to be dry on Thursday as our front comes through. That cools us back down as we head into the weekend. Then some 40s here as we move into Sunday. 30% chance for some showers roll in Monday and Tuesday. How all this works and comes together, where the deepest cold air will it be just north of us? Will it come through? The models are literally changing every single day on what they want to do for next week. I do think it will get colder at some point. The question is, how cold and how much moisture will we have to work with? That's something we will be watching closely.
All right, Matt, sounds good. Wall Street is gearing up for another unpredictable week. Silver futures soared overnight, reaching a 5-month high with the hashtag #SqueezeSilver trending. Prices were up during trading on Monday. It comes after a battle between online day traders and hedge fund pros last week, where some lost billions as the day traders actually made a little money.
It's a really, really weird time we're living in. I had never thought I would invest in stocks casually like that, but I saw the opportunity, downloaded the app on my phone and did it.
Now, a lot of these users were on Reddit, and they are called the Reddit investors, and now they're criticizing the app they were using, Robinhood, saying it is favoring Wall Street titans over their small-time trading. Experts say the free trading app got in over its head and couldn't come up with the capital required after that GameStop trading spree.
But all that seems to have changed as Robinhood has raised $2.4 billion from investors. That's on top of the $1 billion it raised last week. That extra money should give the company enough to cover collateral requirements from last week's trading boom. It should also help the company support the hundreds of thousands of new user accounts and remove its recently imposed trading restrictions. The Waco Regional Airport had some visitors from Marlin ISD today. We'll tell you how that field trip was connected to the start of Black History Month.
Marlin ISD students are getting a taste of aviation on the first day of Black History Month. Students from Marlin Elementary and middle schools came out to Waco Regional Airport for a STEM project flying event. The students also got the chance to meet Captain Barrington Irving, the first African American to pilot a plane around the world solo.
To expose them to an opportunity or even thinking about opportunities in aviation, that's huge. That's huge. I'm sure that is an industry that definitely could benefit for more African American presence.
We believe by partnering with Captain Irving, we're showing our students, more importantly, what they can do and what they will do.
Today's events are part of Marlin ISD's partnership with the Flying Classroom for the rest of Black History Month. Turns out dieting can have an adverse impact on your appearance. We'll explain how losing some weight could impact how old you look.
Dieting might be good for your health, but it could also make you look older. A study by the Medical College of Wisconsin found fat loss in the face makes the eyes seem hollow and cheeks look deflated. Researchers studied participants between the ages of 46 and 57 who lost 12% of fat over 10 years. They found the loss of fat in their faces caused the appearance of aging. A new study shows the impact lockdowns made on married couples. Researchers studied 165 married couples and asked them how lockdowns impacted their daily routines. Researchers say the negative feelings toward a spouse quickly went away when they started planning their daily routines together.
The personality of pet owners might be the biggest factor in the success of training their pets. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania studied 75 dog owners and their pets for 6 months. They found bigger dogs showed more improvement with aggression problems than smaller dogs. Researchers also found extroverted owners were more likely to see improvements in their dog's fearful behavior. As you get older, taking an afternoon nap could help keep your brain a little bit sharper. Researchers analyzing the napping habits of more than 2,000 older adults in China. People aged 60 and older who took afternoon naps showed signs of better mental agility compared to those who didn't do it. The study defined an afternoon nap as being after lunch and lasting between 5 minutes and even up to 2 hours.
A local food pantry needs your help to serve those in need. We'll explain what's going on in Operation Phantom Support next. Thanks for joining us. Here's a look at some of our top stories from the first half hour. Today is the first day of Black History Month, and it's a time to reflect on the triumphs, struggles, and contributions that Black Americans have made in shaping the nation's history. Central Texas community leaders say they will continue to work toward bringing about positive change in the community every single day. This week is National School Counselor Week. Charlotte Hussey has been a counselor at Temple High School for 7 years. In a pandemic, their services have been more needed than ever. Temple ISD counselors serve more than 8,000 students.
A food pantry aimed at helping soldiers, veterans, and first responders may have to close its doors without help from the community in Bell County. Adam Schindler has more tonight.
The food pantry here at Operation Phantom Support helps to feed thousands of heroes every month. But those heroes might go hungry soon without the help of the community. Operation Phantom Support is a nonprofit organization that's all about helping military families, first responders, and veterans in need.
We have a free birthday cake program, Christmas toy program, backpack for school program, car repair program, and tire replacement program, and adult special needs program. So just a lot of things that help families kind of save money throughout the month and make their lives a little easier. So that's what we focus on.
Out of all the different programs they have, it's the food pantry that provides the most help. But that might be ending soon.
It's not like the food is coming to us freely. And so that, combined with the truck payment, the mortgage payment to keep the building open, is hard.
Due to COVID and budget cuts, Operation Phantom Support has been operating at less than 40% of their normal income, while trying to help the same number of families.
Right now, probably close to 30 to 35, maybe a 38. And when you look at the real numbers, and we've moved some stuff around and we've made some adjustments. I have had a few donations come in to help.
Those who run the pantry say this is all some families have to get them by.
People who have tremendous need, and they're not trying to take advantage of anybody. They're trying to survive, and they're trying to do it the best way they can.
Some who need the help say it would be devastating if the pantry had to close down.
It's a ripple in the pond kind of thing. So when one thing starts to happen, it's going to happen all the way down the line. And it pains me to know that veteran support wouldn't be there.
Operation Phantom Support is asking any local businesses or people that can help keep food on the table for these families to please contact them. In Killeen, Adam Schindler, 25 News.
A group of Republican senators officially offering up their counterproposal to President Biden's COVID-19 relief bill. The Republican version is a fraction of the cost, $600 billion total, compared to Biden's $1.9 trillion package. Although Biden has promised compromise and a willingness to work with Republicans, the sides are far apart on the big-ticket items.
If Republicans want to work with us, they have better ideas on how to address those crises, that's great. But to be honest with you, I have not yet heard that.
The Democrats may not even need Republicans to get a deal done. They could use reconciliation to pass the measure with a simple majority in the Senate. Now, here are some of the differences between the two proposals. The president's plan calls for sending another $1,400 stimulus check to eligible Americans. The GOP wants to send out $1,000 checks for adults with lower incomes. Biden's plan would increase federal unemployment weekly benefits to $400 through September, and the GOP plan extends the $300 benefit through June. With Republicans calling for the president to pursue bipartisanship, he's also facing pressure from his own party to get something done, and quickly. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer insisting Democrats cannot repeat what he says were mistakes in 2009 and 2010. They reduced the Obama administration's Recovery Act and Affordable Care Act during negotiations with Republicans, only to see the GOP not support the final bills.
The risk of doing too little is far greater than the risk of doing too much.
Democrats in Congress say they're ready to move forward this week on a COVID-19 relief deal with or without Republicans.
With all of the talk about billions and trillions, where does all that money used for stimulus checks actually come from? Well, the Treasury Department has to borrow a lot of it. They can borrow from private investors, foreign entities, or other governments. The department issues what's essentially an IOU, and the biggest buyer of those IOUs right now is the Federal Reserve, who has the power to create money. All of this borrowing could lead to inflation down the road, but economists say that's not a big threat right now because our economy is still producing more money than we actually owe. Governor Abbott will give his State of the State address tonight at 7 o'clock in about 25 minutes. The governor is expected to provide updates on the state's COVID-19 response and discuss his priorities for the current legislative session. The speech is traditionally given inside the state capitol building, but tonight the governor will be speaking from a small business in Central Texas instead. At 10, we'll have a full breakdown of the governor's address.
And now let's send things over to Matt for another look at our forecast.
And this is going to be something interesting to watch here as we make our way through the rest of this week going into next week. How cold do the temperatures get up in Canada, which will have a direct relationship of how much cold air can get down here as we head into early next week. Right now, it is cold up there, but some of the latest guidance has this getting to -20 to -40 across parts of Canada as we head into the latter part of this week, and some of that air will make its way down into the lower 48. But there are a lot of question marks with that. As we take a look at our February pattern, that could turn colder here. Looks like the nice area of high pressure over us right now will shift back to the west. That will create a ridge along the west coast and allow the jet stream to go up into Canada and pull some of that cold air right on to the south. Now, how far south will it get? How long will it last? That is a huge question right now, and how much can eventually get down into Texas. I'll tell you this, the models are flip-flopping back and forth. Yesterday's runs, some of them had really cold air and winter precipitation. Today's runs have backed off on that, and that's going to continue. They don't do well at handling Arctic air masses moving toward Texas, especially this far out. So it's something we're going to have to watch. The cold air will be there. It just doesn't make it down into Texas. And how long will we see that stick around? If it does make it into Texas next week, we will be tracking that very closely, but it'll be something to watch throughout the week, so you'll want to tune back in.
All right, Matt, something to track for sure. SpaceX announcing today that it will launch 4 private citizens on a Crew Dragon capsule into orbit, hopefully later this year. The launch will be for the Inspiration 4 mission and dubbed, quote, the world's first all-civilian mission that's set to launch toward the end of the year. SpaceX also has space tourism deals in the works with Axum Space and Space Adventures.
Temple ISD teachers are taking an innovative approach to help their students gain some real-life experience. 25 News reporter Paige Ellenberger explains how.
Chelsea Vasquez, a Temple ISD teacher, knows helping her students gain necessary life skills is going to take teaching beyond a textbook.
That's when the idea of Thrifty Wildcats was born. It's an on-campus thrift store operated by students needing extra independent life skills. So while they gain that knowledge inside the classroom, the Temple community and those in need benefit from the additional resource.
When they know of a family that's struggling, my students will then come and figure out what that family needs, and they will be the ones that put it together and will deliver it.
The thrift store is able to open with the help of the Temple Education Foundation and money donated by local businesses.
The store is only accepting donations from TISD faculty at first. Then they will use their counseling connections to reach out to those in need in the community. Reporting in Temple, Paige Ellenberger, 25 News.
Thank you, Paige. In just 6 days, the 2 biggest stars in football will face off in the big game.
The ultimate goal right now is to win the Super Bowl and get the second ring and get that back-to-back championships. It's so hard to do.
To be at it and playing this game is an incredible achievement for our team. And for me personally, I just want to go out there and I want to play a great game.
6-time winner Tom Brady there is taking on Texas native Patrick Mahomes and the defending champ Kansas City Chiefs. Due to COVID precautions, the Chiefs actually won't travel to Tampa until this weekend. Both teams have been in strict work quarantine, meaning players and coaches are required to stay home except for work-related activities at team facilities or for solo outdoor workouts in an effort to keep everyone safe. Sunday will mark the first time a city will host the game with their home team actually on the field. But does hosting big sporting events like this pay off for that host city? Maya Rodriguez explains.
In just days, the eyes of the football world will focus on Tampa, Florida.
Hey, let's go!
Site of Super Bowl 55. Preparations here, years in the making, along with a $160 million renovation to Raymond James Stadium, including $10 million of federal money for COVID-19 related upgrades. But do major investments by host cities pay off?
Generally, the return on an investment that's required by a destination is significant.
Jeremy Jordan is Associate Dean of the School of Sport, Tourism, and Hospitality Management at Temple University. He says studies on the economic impact of games can be subjective and aren't always reliable.
You could have 2 or 3 groups studying the same event and come up with very different results.
With that said, the return on investment depends on the sporting event. For example, the Olympics require a lot more infrastructure, billions of dollars worth, for building facilities that may not get used again after the games are done. The Super Bowl, though, is different. Take Tampa Stadium.
So obviously the Buccaneers play there. University of South Florida uses it for their football games. If you look at it from a sustainability perspective, it probably is worth the investment.
Though this year's Super Bowl won't have quite the impact it might have had because of the pandemic. And Jeremy Jordan says future hosts of national sporting events should take note.
It will be interesting how long it takes for people to feel comfortable to go sit in a stadium of 70,000 people and attend a sporting event. It doesn't mean they're not going to consume it, but the patterns of consumption may be different.
But there is one major positive to cities that host these events.
To say that you hosted the Super Bowl, or obviously that you hosted something like the Olympics, it creates the perception that this is a first-class destination.
A kind of branding, it turns out, that money can buy. I'm Maya Rodriguez.
The Salvation